respect, because the Goyim have certain practices until this very day where they try to contact the dead. And I have a whole lecture just about that, something called seances. It's forbidden, it's not a good idea, but it is possible. There are ways that one can contact the dead. The reason why I mention this is not because I want you to start thinking on doing this. The reason the Torah mentions this is because it's true, and one should realize that because it is true, that in itself is proof that the soul is still around. Even though the practice is forbidden, it's still proof that the soul is still around. So we are told not to try to do any of these things that are forbidden, but to go to pray. We traditionally and regularly go to the kvarim, to the burial places of great righteous men, so that they may intercede on our behalf. And even then we are warned by the rabbis, when you do go to a kever of a tzaddik, you don't implore him, you don't pray to him, you pray to Hashem. You just ask Hashem that in his merit, right? So, you have a request for somebody's single in the family, somebody's very sick in the family, somebody has no children in the family, then you go and implore that in his merit, may Hashem send you the blessing. That is why we regularly go to the cemetery and to the burial places of those who are righteous. But to those who are our relatives, we do have a custom, a different kind of a custom, is if somebody gets married in the family, you go and bring an invitation to him. You take an invitation that you just printed, that you're sending out to all your relatives and friends, and you take it to that kever. And B'ezrat Hashem, Avi, you'll be taking your invitation very soon, hopefully. And the reason for that is because our tradition says that even though they are in Gan Eden, in their final resting place, they still come down and share in the simcha of their relatives. So they will bring your dad out, and he will be dancing B'ezrat Hashem very soon at your wedding. So from all of these stories we see that there's definitely a lot of proof that the neshama is still around. I just want to share with you one story. There are many. Just one story that is an incredible story. It became very famous in the United States. I think it happened in the early 80s. There was a flight with a Rosh Hashiva leaving from Cleveland, I think it was, going to New York, or Lakewood actually I think it was. He had a wedding in Lakewood. So he went with a whole bunch of students. He was prepared to go with a whole bunch of students to this wedding of a former student, I believe. But something happened. The plane could not go its regular route because there was a major blizzard. It had to be diverted to some hick town, small town, not a Jewish town, in either North Carolina, South Carolina, one of those places, I forget where it was. Anyway, as they arrived, they needed to pray. They needed the room to pray, they needed the minyan. So,
Chabad.
No, not at the airport. There may be a Chabad somewhere there, but not at the airport. Only in Israel do you have a Chabad at the airport. I know. So anyway, so some guy comes over to them and he says, "You need a room?" He says, "Yeah, how do you know?" He says, "My father told me so." "Your father told you so? Who are you? And who's your father told you so? We need a room to pray." He says, "Last night, my father," he says, who had left this world a while back, was very upset at me and came to me in a dream. He says, you become a shegetz, you're not religious, you don't even say Kaddish for me." So he tells his father in the dream, "Dad, what can I do? Where I live and where I work, there's no minyan, there are no Jews. It's not my fault." He says, "If I arrange for you that you'll have a minyan, will you come and say Kaddish?" So, "You can arrange for me from upstairs?" "Yes, I'll arrange for you." So apparently he had somehow arranged that blizzard for the flight to be diverted. Before you know it, you have 10 people in this room at the airport, and this guy who was in charge of the cleaning and the maintenance there said Kaddish. This is an incredible story. This is a true story. There are many such stories that prove that the neshama continues to exist in a different realm. It is aware of us. It is pained sometimes when we are in pain. It is clearly aware of what's going on in this world. It's just that during the first year, that that awareness is stronger. And as the time progresses, it goes to its final